Well, ZvZ is unlike any other matchup. You know, when I off-race Zerg and I get ZvZ, I'm not happy. I just ling all in because it's just so completely different than everything else. It's all about decision making, backstab, stuff like that, where like being in position, out of position, all that stuff. So we'll see if cRoSs can turn it around. cRoSs is definitely very good, but Sziky just seems so solid. I loved how he constantly sent in one ling to check what cRoSs was doing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very tough for cRoSs. Let's see what our next map is going to be. It is going to be Optimizer. So we're going to get what I wanted, which is I want to see like 3 hatches in our main, double gas, just complete craziness. And we may actually get to see that. So let's get into game 1. It is going to be cRoSs versus Sziky. Winner moves on. Loser is eliminated from BSL 10. So let's get into it. So in the bottom left, in the orange, we have the Hungarian Zerg. It is Sziky. And in the bottom right, in the blue, we have Mr. cRoSs. So do you think we're going to see anything crazy, or is this just going to be standard ZvZ? Remember, we saw, I think, 9 pool from cRoSs, whereas we saw, what, overpool hatch from Sziky?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think this map isn't that crazy for ZvZ. I think the only times... I mean, it's interesting that you suggest maybe having 3 hatches in your main and going double gas, but even so, like, it's only 1000 gas from the 1 gas. I really don't think... I think this map, if the only time it actually might play into this matchup is if we get into more of a later stage mid game, where, you know, they're both on heavy mutalisk production and finally they take their third base, or their third hat, or whatever, their third gas, and mine the minerals, the extra minerals at their natural. But like outside of that, I can't see the extra resources really be that big of a deal. It looks like Sziky is actually going for an overpull, or yeah, it looks like a 10. I think that's 11-10, and then cRoSs is actually going for hatch first, and I think it's gonna be hard to say. I mean, this is the pool isn't. It's not like a 9 pool, so I don't think this is an outright win here for Sziky. I think the lings actually come too slow to punish the 12 hatch.
Well, this is going to be 11 hatch and then actually an 11 pool follow-up. And Optimizer does look like a pretty big map, so I don't think the lings are actually going to get there in time to deal a lot of damage. This seems like quite a bit of gas for Sziky before the pool finished. So was this actually gas before pool? Because it feels like it was. So speed, I think, is what was the upgrade coming in for Sziky, but I could be wrong. It could be fast lair. Oh, actually, it is fast lair. So he has no intention of actually killing the hatch. He just wants to go straight up into Spire. Now, we already saw Sziky react to fast Spire from crossing. He ended up just going for Evolution Chamber. But I think it's going to be hard to make that type of style work, because look how open that Nat entrance is. If you can get mutas over the ledge and a decent amount of links, they can easily sneak by.
Well, and cRoSs actually goes for the lair himself, so the thing is, yeah, it's hard to say. This lair from Sziky is so fast that I think cRoSs is going to have to get Spire, or whatever, spores, no matter what happens here. Now, it is nice. The thing, I don't, these are such weird variations. The build Sziky is going is straight up like a mutalisk build. You go this to, usually you see it on maps that have ramps, though, not rampless maps, because you have fewer links to defend and you don't have speed. So you usually rely on a ramp to, like, you know, defend your choke. Now, obviously this choke is really good to defend also, but the ramp is just that much more defendable than just a flat choke. So interesting build order choice by Sziky, kind of more unconventional. I do like it though. It is overall a really solid build. You can see he's already stockpiling a bunch of gas, so he's gonna have so many mutalisks, and usually, as you see, also Sziky is getting another hatchery in his main, and the reason he can do this, so look, actually, Dan, this is exactly what you're, well, I mean, he's using the map, because you can see he's gonna get that early stockpile from getting basically the gas before the pool and no speed, and then once he runs out of that stockpile, he's gonna inject him himself even more gas. So I really like this from Sziky, and this is classic Sziky, man. This is why this guy is nuts. He has a brain, dude. He is such a smart player.
Yeah, well, here comes cRoSs. He's going to try and bust through. The arc is fantastic for Sziky. He's going to get his sunken up in time. Now he's got to back off. Sunkens.
Oh, my.
Oh, well, that's an exposed fire, though. And he's got to be very careful that that does not get picked off, because that's what he's building up to. Looks like there is, luckily, enough lings to push it back. So Sziky does manage to survive for now, and he is going to go for that in-base hatch. He is going to get up his second gas to match cRoSs. But as you were saying earlier, over time, cRoSs' second extractor will be more impactful. But for now, Sziky, I think he's in a pretty good spot right now. I didn't think he lost really much to that attack. So he's going to try and put on some more pressure. But look at the drone count. There's a considerable amount more for cRoSs, but he doesn't have any more lings. That's it. There's only 4 versus like 8.
Yeah, but these aren't speed upgraded for Sziky, so he's going to get a really good trade here, but only 3 lings left over. And if he gets a spore here, that would be massive. He's going to get a couple drones, so this is definitely really good for Sziky right before the Mutalisk even popped. But cRoSs' Spire is actually fast himself. He's already making Mutalisks. And the thing is, Sziky didn't really do much with the earlier timing he had on his Spire, and I don't think he'll be able to end the game, obviously, at this point. So Sziky, I'll have to see here if he recognizes that he has to expand. I think when we've seen cRoSs in this position where Sziky is, with kind of that tech advantage, but not the economic advantage, he was very overly aggressive. Oh, he's actually just going for the Spore and chasing out the Mutalisk with the Scourge. So very decisive play, but look how much damage that Spore colony is doing. And you saw actually cRoSs almost target fire that Mutalisk back, so that was pretty sick. But Sziky doesn't lose any Mutalisks, but he's forced back because more spores are on the way. And at this point, you got to recognize, okay, I'm not going to end this game. I do have way more Mutalisks. It's going to be interesting because still, look, the drone count is pretty even, and Sziky has 2 hatcheries going, and he has access to the second gas. So he doesn't have to expand just yet. He can play aggressively. This map really kind of... You know, I said we're not going to see much from this map. Sick micro, by the way, from Sziky, but Sziky really playing to this map.
Yeah, and the lings getting those 2 to 3 drone kills made the drone count so much closer, and the muta control is absurd. This is just patented Sziky. Like I said earlier, only Eon, Zerg, and True Touch have matching control to this guy. It's absolutely incredible. He can macro like a god, he can micro like a god. And this is why I don't like spores that much, because spores are great, but they can't move anywhere. So there's actually an exposed mineral line at the bottom. If the Mutalisk were just to hang out there, he's going to pick off the evolution chamber. I actually thought earlier that the evolution chamber might be able to bounce into the spore. That ended up not happening, but still, cRoSs in trouble. Now, I do look at the mini-map, and there's no second gas for Sziky just yet. So over time, cRoSs is going to have more and more gas, but he needs to build up that muta count. Right now, he has like none.
Yeah, the longer cRoSs mines from this natural gas, the worse it is for Sziky, because, you know, Sziky's going to mine out his second gas at his main, like the 1000 gas, way faster than cRoSs. And then when cRoSs needs that extra gas, he's just going to get it for free. So it's going to be really interesting. Now, Sziky with some sick micro doesn't actually lose any Mutalisks. Kills all the Scourge, dude. That was so impressive. So he's really putting on the pressure, but he's not killing any drones. He's not going to end this game. cRoSs can just stay behind this Spore colony. I mean, yeah, it's annoying losing your evolution chamber, but honestly, who cares? And cRoSs is actually going for the +1 Carapace. Meanwhile, Sziky's going for the +1 attack. Now, the Carapace actually scales better than the attack upgrade, but it's more expensive. Sziky finding the perfect angle here. The thing is, he's totally boxed in. Those Scourge coming in, connecting just right, but just not enough Mutalisks from cRoSs to chase those down. So Sziky kind of with a pretty aggressive maneuver there, but kills the drones that he needed to. And look, he's mining gas now, but that's only 1000 gas. It's going to mine out pretty fast, but he did so much damage there.
Yeah, it's fine that it's 1000 gas. He's just hanging around this mineral line. He's now nullified the drone advantage. He's up 17 to 11, but did he overstep? Muta versus Muta with Scourge trailing behind it. It is only 4 left for Sziky versus looks like maybe like 4 or 5 for cRoSs. He ends up accepting defeat there. He's going to split off one Mutalisk, save the other. So now cRoSs's in the driver's seat. And remember, there's no spore colonies for Ziki, so a counterattack should be able to deal a decent amount of damage. But as I say that, reinforcing mutas coming in, this is such a wild map for ZvZ, having way more mutas than you actually expect. But I think the biggest issue now is the drone count, 17 to 11. Ziki can start taking his natural.
Yeah, I mean, the drone count is massive here for Sziky, and he's just going to pull ahead. I mean, look at the supply. Still kind of even. I mean, it's still pretty even. And again, you have to factor in the fact that cRoSs's been mining from just his natural gas. So soon, Sziky will only be on 2 gas, whereas cRoSs will have a time where he's on 3 gas, and he'll be able to kind of come back in that Mutalisk count. So, I mean, it's definitely, it's hard to say who's ahead at this point. I mean, obviously Sziky's ahead, but I don't think the game's far from over, right? Yeah, I mean, they're both still massing Mutalisks. Now, cRoSs's going to have to find a time to basically drone up a bit more, because the big thing is Sziky's getting that 3rd hatch, and with that extra production coming through, it's gonna, you know, it's just gonna keep building on itself. He's gonna be able to take that 4th base faster. He's gonna be able to make drones and lings and Mutalisks. He's gonna be able to afford everything he wants. Meanwhile, if cRoSs funnels all his resources into Muta Scourge here and nothing happens, he's gonna fall behind economically.
Well, here comes Ziki. He did just get +1 weapon, but cRoSs's about to get +1 armor, and that's a huge upgrade for the mutas. It's way better than +1 weapon. So let's see if this was a mistake to move in this deep. There's a spore. Oh my, that's so many Scourge, but unfortunately, none of the Scourge really connected. They just connected on other Scourge. So Ziki manages to get in, deal a little damage, and escape, but still, he has a slight muta advantage. It's 10 to 8. I think that if cRoSs counterattacks, this is a mistake. He does have +1 armor. You're always feeling super strong with +1 armor, but he just doesn't have the muta count.
Yeah, I'm surprised cRoSs's playing so aggressively. I don't know why he thinks he has such a commanding advantage that he can just go and attack. He has to remember that the longer the game goes, the better it is for him, because he was mining his natural gas way earlier, but he's just going to take this poor fight here. More Scourge reinforcing, and you can see both players so good at ZvZ. This is what high-level ZvZ is about. You can see, like, there's always Scourge reinforcing and coming from different angles and joining the fight, and it's so crazy, but Sziky's micro is just next level, dude. This guy has sick Mutal Micro. Now, cRoSs missed rallying a couple drones. Look, his main is barely mining anything. cRoSs did not drone up, and this is a constant theme of his ZvZ, just kind of always committing so hard to making units non-stop. He's playing so aggressively when there's no way for him to catch up in the Mutalisk count. Look, I mean, Sziky's been ahead economically this whole game, and cRoSs, instead of just accepting that he won't have tempo on the map, he won't have you know, the resources to fight this, and kind of droning up, he's playing overly aggressive. And I mean, he has the +1 carapace. Again, it scales better than the +1 attack, and also he's had the gas at the natural for longer, so I don't get why he doesn't just play a slower game.
Well, an Overlord goes down. I think this might just be the game-ending move, because there's just so many mutas, and the muta control is just absolutely crazy. He's down to 2 Mutalisks left. That leaves the main wide open, drones going down left and right. I don't think a single Scourge has connected this entire game. Even when he's boxed in like this, they don't connect. It's just crazy, man. This guy's micro is absolute insanity, and cRoSs just types out. So, you know, originally I thought, okay, cRoSs's got a good chance, but like, look at it, man. Like, ZvZ is completely different than every other matchup, and Ziki's just so good at all aspects of the game. Macro, micro, decision making, it doesn't matter. Like, this guy's amazing.
Yeah, he's nuts. That micro is nuts. The build order choice is so smart on that map. I like, obviously I haven't played ZvZ in a long time, but the fact that he came up with that, like, it makes so much sense. Just going for the gas early and going into that Mutalisk build. That's how that build works usually. You bank up that gas with that early gas before pool, and you get to put, because you bank up so much gas, it doesn't matter that the other player takes their natural. You're actually going to be ahead in gas for a long time, so you can actually afford to put your second hatchery in your base. But on that map, you also have access to that second gas, so you don't have to expand as fast as usually when you do that build. Your third hatchery is going to be at your natural, but he doesn't need to rush that third hatchery because he has access to that second gas. So it makes so much sense with the build that he chose on that map, and that's really the first time that I've seen this whole tournament, and even in the race wars and in the tournament, someone actually played to the map correctly, and it was just incredible to watch.